Ballinger. I'm here with Isaac. Isaac, what's your last name again?
My last name is Spearman.
Spearman. So Isaac Spearman, you're out of York. You're Are you 31 or 30?
I just turned 30 in October.
You just turned 30 in October. And the cool thing about you is you've had a lot of experience already in the business. You've flipped houses. You had a wholesaling company you were part of at one point, and now you own a ton of rentals. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I got into the business in 2017. I was kind of working a job, not a dead-end job. I was making like 50 grand, which at the time was pretty good. It was not a night job, but it was like 3 p.m. till like midnight. It was with JB Hunt, a trucking company. And just like everyone else, I stumbled on YouTube, saw a video, and from there it just trickled into buying a short sale, moving into it, selling that, moving into something else. Then I saw like city rentals you could buy for 17 grand, and I remember just like telling my wife, like, this something doesn't make sense here. Like, I can buy this for 17 grand and rent it for 700. Why don't we buy as many as we can? So
yes.
And I tried, but that was probably 2018, 2019, and then obviously we know the market went crazy. So I amassed, I think it was like 8 rentals within like 2 or 3 years, and then started this wholesale business. We sold 120 homes. We made a little over $1.5 million, and the partnership kind of just, we weren't getting along, so we separated. I sold most of my rentals to kind of either pay for the lawsuit or pay my attorneys, or just to be more committed to them earlier in the partnership. And so 2023 now we're at, and that was kind of like the year where I had a lot of self-doubt going through a partnership dispute like that, and I just didn't know if I could do it on my own. So last year was kind of like, can I do this? Can I not do it? And I bought 43 rentals, flipped 12 houses, and then bought another 29 rentals with a partner.
Oh my goodness.
So I established myself pretty early in 2023, and just kind of, I borrowed a lot of private money and just didn't really care how many points, what the interest was. I just went with it. Now I'm just trying to navigate owning a bunch of houses that have deferred maintenance, and I'm trying to only buy stuff in the city that's centrally located and that is multi-unit. Yeah.
I did kind of the same thing, except it was in 2000. It was 2000, right after the last recession. 2008 was the recession. 2009, 2010, my brothers and I did the same thing. We bought 100 units one year. We leveraged private money, right? We didn't have to pay any points, and we were getting a 7 or 8% private money rate, and then we were buying them in like as fast as we could. We did not fix them up like we should have. If I were to go back, I would fix them all up the second I buy them. I would borrow more money.
Actually, that's something I've heard you say multiple times. So every time I buy something, I try to, and I literally think about you, and I'm like, I know it's making money, but like I need to, that roof, that deck, that water heater that I know is a problem, I need to take care of it now, because once you get it occupied, it's a nightmare every month.
I learned it from Brian, who used to work for us. He was in all departments here. Now he went on his own and just kind of has a construction company and 40 couple rentals. But he completely fixes everyone up when someone moves out. I mean, he does the flooring, the paint, decorative walls. I don't know if he does granite but he does do the countertops. But he gets them in great shape, then rents them for the high dollar. But they're getting a nice unit. So he's not trying to rent a kind of an okay unit. He fixes it up, a nice unit, and then gets the high rent, which is kind of easy to do.
Yeah, and then that tenant's usually a lot better about using an online portal and paying on the 1st or the 5th, because some of these tenants, they really don't know. Like, I just had an eviction. I really don't think the tenant understood. Like, he was like, why would I have to pay March rent? March isn't over. And I'm like, what? And I just don't think that these tenants, some of them don't know. So I think at that higher price point, they are a little bit more, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but educated, and you know, it does make it a little bit easier.
And most of his are in the Carlisle area. Actually, most of his are in Carlisle. Almost all 40 of his are in Carlisle, which is a pretty good, strong market. We don't own a lot of city properties. Most of the people in my company that own rentals, very few of them own anything in Steelton or Harrisburg or any of the big cities around us. We're pretty much in small towns like Carlisle, Mechanicsburg, Mount Holly, those kinds of things. Oh. But I tell you what, I bought those 100 units. I didn't fix them up. And then I refied them all, right, into like 4.5%, 15-year mortgages, like fixed for I don't know if they were fixed for 15 years. I did a swap on one that was fixed for 15, but I fixed them for 7 years, like the max I could. And so I don't think I have any coming really due anytime soon. So I've got a lot of low rates, but I do have those huge repairs because
And are they pretty much financed with the same bank?
like a Town Bank or like just local banks, and Bank of Landisburg I have a fair amount with. All small local banks, kind of easy to work with. But I will tell you, if I would have fixed those units up back then, it might have cost $12,000. Now, if I want to put in a new kitchen, new floors, new everything, $20,000.
Yeah,
it's like
that, and then your maintenance number every month is
be higher.
It's a disaster. Yeah, it's a disaster. Well, not yours maybe, but yeah, when you don't fix them up, you have that.
Yeah.
You think you're like, you had one big repair that month. You're like, I'm not going to have that next month. And then next month comes and there it is.
So how did you buy 43 rentals? Like, were you buying them off market? Like, how did you do it? Because I see people struggling to buy one or two.
Yeah, so I did it. I leveraged social media lightly, just kind of telling people like I buy houses.
Yeah.
And then I bought a lot of stuff. So I had a wholesaling business. I leveraged a lot of the previous leads we had. Not like, I didn't dig through the CRM, but like just stuff that like, I'm like, what about that guy who owned that 8 unit? And then I just would follow up with them. And then I did buy, a lot of my flips actually came right off the MLS. So I would kind of keep an eye on, I'm an agent, so I set my MLS up that it says like coming soon, the past 24 hours, it'll tell you. So and it updates every 24 hours. So if I saw something coming soon that was like an estate or just maybe a more rundown, outdated house, I would try to get to that agent before it got to active or before any other agent that with a homeowner could get to them. And I would try to talk to that agent and just pretty much explain to them, look, it doesn't matter if you sell this for $150 or you sell for $200, your commission doesn't change that much. And then I'd also leverage my commission either giving it to them or just in my mind using that as like a little bit of a discount.
Yeah.
Or the average lead, I think, or the average deal costs like $2,500. So I was like, if I can buy a house on the MLS and spend $2,500 more, plus
so that's how you bought your 43 rentals you own now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Just a lot of them off the MLS.
Right off the MLS, word of mouth, other agents. I bought a 3-unit off the MLS that was actually listed as a single family.
Oh wow!
So it was just kind of like not ninja tricks, but like just really being diligent and watching.
I don't think I've bought anything in the last year off the MLS.
And I'm not, I'm buying stuff significantly like below market. Like the 3-unit was $150. It's probably worth $250. So it's not like I'm.
And you are fixing it up, or you have fixed those 40 couple.
Yeah, I'm trying my best to fix them as legit as possible. So like that 3-unit in York, you can now split the water and the sewer, and it can be in the tenant's name. So I reran, all new hot and cold PEX. I put 3 furnaces in, 3 water heaters, brand new kit. I did everything there.
Now, do you borrow the rehab money from your private money?
I self-fund all my rehab, but then I try to borrow 100% of the purchase.
So okay.
Yeah. So my wife also has a job she's held it down for 7 years. Like because that's she doesn't get paid a ton. Like she makes less than $100,000, but it's enough that like it covers our bills, and then so I don't have to worry about that. So I can kind of go out and act a little wild. And you're selling stuff is still.
And you're selling her on this dream, right? That you're going to make all this money, all this passive income, and things are going to be great.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get to where she can quit, but there's never enough passive income because repairs are. I come home and I'm like, hey babe, I bought another house, and you know how it is. And since I self-fund my rehabs and I got to pay the points, I'm like the richest 30-year-old that's broke probably in York. So.
Well, the key is to keep living like that, in my opinion. So, I started when I was maybe 25, 26, and this may not help your morale or may not help your wife's morale, but right now I just turned 49, and of course, if I wouldn't have, I bought rental properties, then I bought more, then we bought large apartment complexes, and then we just rolled some money into an assisted living. So if I tell my wife I'm getting ready to do another big project, she may rip my head off. Because I've been selling her on the dream of passive income.
Right, a retirement, moving to Florida, or maybe not coming into the office every day. And I'm trying to, I've done a really good job of like watching people like you or whoever it is in the space and learning. Like I've not made many mistakes. Even the partnership thing was a disaster, but I've learned a lot from it. But besides that, I mean, I bought a house early. I bought it for $80,000 and it was worth, $150,000. Like I got married early. I did all the things you're supposed to do, but I'm still trying to get to where the passive income is actually something I can live off of. But yeah, it's tough. Because your lifestyle grows as your passive income grows and your financial freedom number, because everyone's like, oh, your financial freedom number, that's when you can retire. You get that, you hit your 10K passive, and then you start, like I just said, you start buying nicer clothes, you get a new car versus the used car.
Do you have kids yet or no?
And so I have a 2.5-year-old.
Okay.
And then my wife's pregnant with our second, so she's due in July, which...
So you're not even into sports yet. So I just want you to know that I just wrote a check out. So I've got 3 kids. 2 are just starting in sports, and I wrote a check out for $700 earlier in the week, and then I just wrote another check out for $950, and that's just for the next 2 months.
Yeah. It doesn't include the equipment, the cleats,
shoes, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
the gas driving, all the commitment I have to make to take them to where we're going.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's just 2. That's just 2 of the nights a week. Yeah. We have 2 other nights we're doing. I had scheduled, and we're doing stuff too.
How do you balance that with your wife working too? Do you guys have a nanny?
We do have a nanny that lives with us. Yeah. But lately, the sports, like I commit to going. I can get most of my stuff done. I work out in the morning before work, and then when I come to work during the day, or I don't really have a lot of commitments after 4 o'clock. So
yeah, I'm pretty good about that too. I follow a lot of Ryan Pineda stuff, and he's like big on. Like he's not a 5 or 3 a.m. wake up, work till midnight guy. He's like a 8 to 4 or whatever, 10 to 4. So like I try to always be home. Same. Like
he's a little farther down the line with what he's done, though, too.
But he says that he's always been like that.
Really?
So I don't. I mean, maybe
I've had dinner with him a number of times. Him and his team.
I think it's important, that for me at least, like from 6 a.m. till 7. That's basically the only time I have with Madison. And then when I get home at, she goes to bed at 7. So if I'm not diligent about getting home early, you end up not knowing your own kids, which is crazy.
I didn't get home a lot early on. When my first one was younger, I worked 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 6 days a week.
Yeah, I try not to do that.
Well, I'm on a different little curve right now, so.
Yeah, it's a little wild. So then your assisted living stuff, how's that going?
It's a lot harder real estate deal than dealing with rentals. Rentals are easy compared to that.
Yeah, because it's a whole business. There's a marketing department. I'd assume
there's a whole in-house leadership team that runs that whole business.
Okay.
That
is the whole plan, though, right? To use real estate and then you get into other businesses. Because I've thought about even just selling my portfolio, taking my $3 million in equity, and not starting an assisted living facility, but you can put it in some bonds, 5%, and then you could play around with some other businesses.
I don't know what $3 million is going to do for your lifestyle. It wouldn't do it I would need like $30 million to do that maybe, and I don't even have a lifestyle. Like I've been pushing off to doing stuff lifestyle-wise. I just started going on some decent vacations like 3 years ago. And literally, I was in my mid-40s before we really went on a nice vacation. Oh. And I also got over the hump of getting $1 million in the bank account before I did that too. Like actually joining a big company like the Collective Genius, I think we've been in there almost 5 years now. That really has. Yeah.
I was part of Carlos and Sal. It was more of like specifically around wholesaling, but it is powerful. Just being around, I know that mastermind you're in is a ridiculous amount of whenever I see you or Eric or anyone post anything, I'm always trying to just listen in, because it's, the amount of people that are, the guys are, the level they're on there, I can only imagine the small stuff just in relationships you could learn at
just little tidbit, it's not much, it's tidbits, and Eric's the one that got me in the group. I'm very blessed to be in the group. They just created a higher part of that. We're only there's 16 members that are part of it, and I got invited to be part of that, which is pretty cool. But
that's basically where the mentorship I was in, it kind of got diluted by, I think the guys running it, and nothing against them, but they were just trying to grow that as a business, that they were letting anyone who had 40 grand could join it. Yeah. And then it started people were asking questions like, what's an assignment, type stuff, and it's you can't be, it just is a hard, I've been part of other mentorships that are the same way, where it's you join it to learn something, you're not, so I had to exit another one. That was actually a local one, but
But I think they're good to be part of.
Yeah.
I really do, because
does Collective Genius offer like a lower level?
yes, they do. Yeah. And the leadership team of ours is the one that, like, a lot of the people that are running the lower ones are really good too.
Yeah.
And I think it's like $15,000 a year maybe for the lower one.
Yeah.
The upper one's like 25.
Well, they have to, if they want to sustain anything, they got to start grooming people
to go into those
to
groups,
go into the bigger one.
But I mean, it's nothing earth-shattering that you're going to go and learn on one trip, right? But it's just the little things that you learn over time. I wouldn't have been able to do turnkey rentals if I wasn't part of that. And we transitioned back in like 2020 when COVID hit into doing turnkey rentals.
Yeah, that didn't last very long, though, did it?
No, but it was 2 years of glory.
So what, you just renovate the place to the hill? Did you place a tenant, or you just pitched it?
Pitched it, ran it, managed it, everything. And if I wasn't in CG, I probably wouldn't have known to pivot. I wouldn't have known how to sell them. I wouldn't have known which website portal to go through to, make it easy. It was really, really easy.
Yeah, I remember Eric was early in on that too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he got me started on it, but there was other guys in CG already doing it. Now that business has gone away. So
why?
Because the interest rates are.
You just can't make money you can't buy that expensive product and it cash flow.
Because we were selling stuff in Harrisburg, we were buying it for 50 right off the MLS, putting 30 into it. We were all in for 80, and we were selling them for 140.
Yeah, so when COVID hit, I panicked. I bought a 2-unit for $58,000.
Yeah.
Right when, this was March of 20, whatever that was, 2020, and the lockdown was like March 13th. So this was like, I know looking back, it's easy to be like, oh, it was nothing and fake, blah, blah, but like, I had no idea. You had no idea. We were scared.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be the first one to admit it. I bought a 2-unit for 58. It was probably worth like 65 of retail. I was scared, literally, I was scared out of, long story short, that property, so when I bought that, I freaked out, and I sold another single family house that I bought. I bought it for 38, which is crazy to think. Like, I sold it to Eric, and Eric, he renovated the thing to the hill. Yep. To the hill, AC, new roof, windows, and I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing? Like, he knows better. Well, then he sold it for like $150, and I'm like, I'll have to give Eric this. He honestly, he made the market in York go up because of that. Now, I think he had some troubles getting stuff to appraise, but then once we started wholesaling, we called on to what he was doing. We didn't do any turnkey stuff, but we were like, well, if he got $150 for that, let's buy right in that area.
But that's the thing. You couldn't go sell it for that.
No, but
you could get appraisal for that to help you out.
Right.
But then now turnkey's gone, so the numbers are probably all going to come down in those areas.
That same 2-unit I actually just sold this week for $206.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What did he sell for before?
No, so I bought it was I panic sold a single I bought a 2-unit and panic sold the single to Eric, but the 2-unit I bought for I bought it for $62,000. It burned down actually. A tenant caught fire. It wasn't a total loss where it burned. It was basically smoke damage. So it just finished Friday, and I'm settling it on the 14th, so Thursday.
Oh, okay.
For $206,000. So that's going to be I'm going to do a 1031 exchange. It'll be my first. I don't need to do a 1031. I don't know how you feel about them. My tax liability would probably be about $40,000. So I could just eat it, and I probably will have enough.
Did you find another one to buy?
Yeah, I'm going to buy an 8-unit.
Okay.
That's $900,000.
An 8-unit for $900?
Yeah.
Okay.
You think that's a good price?
What's the monthly rents per door?
It's bad. It's low right now. It's like $600. But they should be like 14.
Yeah, if you can get up to 14 with not a lot, you have to put a lot of work into it.
It's going to suck up front, but
yeah.
I'm buying that on an installment sales
Where's
agreement.
that at?
That's in York. It's in Red Lion.
Yeah. Would you get a good rate from the installment on their end?
It's like 10%.
From the seller?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make it work.
It would have been nice if you would have got like 4 or 5% for a year or two, right? Yeah. You build up to that 10% or.
Yeah. That is like one of those. That's rentals 101 right there. So like, sweet, I sold this place. I'm going to make $150,000. I'm going to roll it into this other building and make no money. It's like.
That's part of it. So that does go to the next point is. People think they're going to buy rental properties, make cash flow, and even on paper, if you're showing $200 a month per unit, the couple I bought last year were mobile homes on land. Like, I really did not buy much. I literally probably bought 4 or 5 units last year. But I really only want to make $400 or $500 a month per door. Like these mobile homes I was buying with private money, like 3-year private money, 8%, 9% interest. I'm shooting to make 400 or 500 just because, and they're all fixed up now because that's the way I do it. But literally, it's tough to be buying something and think you're going to make 200 because once you have some maintenance calls and some stuff, it really can eat in the profit.
So you think that you're just not able to figure out how to operate in this higher interest rate environment, or you just don't need to, so you're not?
I'm just kind of in a waiting pattern. So I bought a lot of apartment buildings in the last 5 years, but in the last year and a half, I bought no apartment buildings. I bought maybe in the last year four places to rent. Like, I really want to buy at a discount, or I'm really not buying. Like, I want to
sitting on the cash.
Yeah, I want to burr out of it. Plus, keep in mind, my assistant.
What if rates don't come back down? What if 8 is like the new 4?
Well, 8 is the way it was before 4, right? Like, that was pretty normal.
Yeah.
I think doing syndications where you're raising money to do a big deal, I don't think that'll even work.
Yeah, I think that could be over for a while, because I think that
it worked when rates were in the 3s and 4s, but now when rates are 7s, you literally have to have a huge amount of cash. That's where family office is, that kind of stuff. I'm trying to figure out how to build some stuff to keep, but that's really hard too.
Yeah. I just put a warehouse under contract.
Yeah.
It's the only warehouse basically left, central city, like downtown, like downtown York. It's one of those things where like everyone's driven by it and seen it, and just no one's done anything.
Does it need work?
Yeah, it's a vacant warehouse.
How much is it?
140.
Okay.
It's 4 stories. I forget how much square footage, but it's big.
So what are you gonna do with it?
I'm gonna try to put apartments in it. Or I might just sell it. But
you have to close on it, or you just put a contract?
No, I'm gonna close on it.
Okay.
It's like 140 grand, so I want to control it, and
yeah.
I don't want anyone to, because it's one of those deals where everyone's driven by it, everyone's seen it, and everyone was just.
I've never been one to buy stuff and hold on to it without a clear path immediately.
Yeah, I don't have a clear path. I was on the way up here. That's all I was thinking about. I'm like, maybe I should engage a bank, but I'm like, I can't engage a bank because they want to know what my plans are and what the budget is. And I'm like, maybe I should try to start marketing just like wholesale. And I'm like, no, I told the seller I wasn't going to do that. So I was like, I'll just buy it. So I think I think it's a really good deal for 140.
How much are the taxes on it?
They're only $2 grand.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the way up here, I also called my private lender and I was like, hey, could I defer the interest? And he was like, I can't do that. And I was like, because that would, in 2021 when we did all those flips, and the private lenders was actually deferring our interest till the end, which helps you when you're in a tight cash position. So like while I was trying to figure out what to do with the warehouse, I was like, if I could get him to wait 6 months to collect his interest, that would. I'm gonna have to pop out $1,300 a month probably, whatever 10% or 11% is on 140. Yeah, it's like $1,400 a month just to look at this warehouse.
I bought some warehouses, but they're all rented. Yeah. I have 2 big ones in Carlisle.
Yeah. I could turn it into storage probably, or it has an elevator in it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but it's also landlocked, so I have to get the city to allow the parking lot beside that landlocked that's owned by the city of York.
Oh wow.
So I have to get them to say, yes, you can enter this part, because the fire exit has to be into like whatever a public common area. Now, I think they'll allow it because it's economic development, but we'll see. That's the risk, I guess.
We do take risk in real estate. Yeah. So going back to apartments and making money, right? So I told you early on when we were talking before we started today that I have about 200 rentals, and I don't profit per month on them. I literally, once you have full management and you have full maintenance in place, like literally everyone's on the books. We have an asset manager. I've got property managers. I got full maintenance guys. I got vans that they buy. They get weeks off, paid after being here so long. I literally profit no money per month. I mean, it covers the bills. It covers the repairs. It covers the upgrades we do to the units, but I really do not profit.
What's the purpose? What do I own on them?
I have no idea.
Is it the future when you sell them one day?
I have sold.
I have no idea.
I sold a whole block of 25 doors that I had. I was seller financed at one point. Yeah, it was one block. I paid $1.1 million for it. Seller financed at like 15-year, 4.25%. And after about 5 years of owning them, I went to him and I said, hey, I'm going to sell these off piecemeal. And when COVID happened in 2020, 2021, I sold them. I cleared $1.2 million, $1.3 million from selling those off. I just
do you think that really is the name of the game, and even rentals is just hold them to wait till they appreciate and then flip them?
I think some of them, yes. Yeah. I have so many, so I don't think it's hurting me that much. And I used to have on the main street of Carlisle, I had like 7 buildings, and I've just sold my 6th one. So for example, I sold a 3-unit last month, and I walked away with, I think I walked away with about $200,000. I'm selling a 5-unit right now that when it closes, I make $300,000. I have another 5-unit on that street. When it closes, I'll make make $300,000 again.
You own some nice stuff in Dillsburg too, right?
I sold those. I walked away with like $200,000.
Oh, a little like detached
6 unit, yeah.
That's like the type of stuff I'm trying to.
Yeah, I hate to sell them, but I also know I need a certain amount of cash to sleep at night with my assisted living. So it's burning anywhere from $30,000 to $80,000 a month, depending on.
Wow, is that not occupied or?
Well, we have 64 beds, so it's 38,000 square feet. All in, it was $12 million. So I owe $8.7 million on it. So those principal and interest loans all kicked in, which is pretty big.
So what did the financing look like? The finance on your assisted living, was that like a construction to permanent financing?
It was. I ended up getting an SBA loan, and early on, nobody wanted to touch it because they didn't want to deal with someone that had never been in the space.
While you're going through the renovation, do you have to pay interest, or is it interest only, no payments?
I had to pay interest only for 2 years.
So when does the assisted living start pumping cash, or it doesn't?
That's a good question.
Because you always hear that's something like you heard mini storages, assisted livings, car washes. I'm trying to think.
So a lot of people build stuff. A lot of people build big apartment buildings, but I don't know if they can literally afford to keep them.
Yeah.
I know of some big companies building 100, 200 units, but they're also, some people have them for sale right now. So can they really afford to keep that stuff? And maybe they could when the rates were 4, but after construction, now rates are like 7. My rate was kind of locked in on my first loan. So I had an SBA loan I had to put up $4 million of my own cash, which I was able to scramble and do. I don't know how I did it, but I told you, I sold some stuff. I had put down $4 million. I owe 8.7. $5 million of it is on the first at 3.5%, which is fixed for 5 years. So I have 3 more years at that. My other loan just locked, 25-year AM, fixed the whole time, 6.7, I think. We locked that in.
What's your wife think about that deal?
She likes the assisted living. I think it was harder than I expected. We're new brand. And
how did you determine that location? There was a need for it.
Well,
was there a special study you did?
I did have a feasibility study, which did come out. It came out positive. Of course, you're assuming what the rates are going to be. You're assuming what salaries are going to be. And I did this all in 2019. I've updated it as I went, but my labor is way higher than I ever imagined it would be, and that's because of COVID.
And you have to have like actual RNs registered.
We do have an RN. We have an LPN. I think on staff. You don't have to for personal care. You don't have to, but it is. There's a full team of people there that are working.
I remember I stumbled across a assisted living in Hanover, and the lady had it like in a church. It was like maybe 15 beds, and I remember someone told me to read. This was years ago. This was like.
There's zero chance I would do that.
I know that for sure. But I remember were you in that?
No.
I wonder why someone thought. Have you been trying to do assisted living, or it was just a thought that long, or no?
Well, that's just when I started the plans for this project, 2019. Okay. That's when
maybe it was in 2019.
That's when I found the land and I started the process. And I have people every week send me places that are run down or not operating. Well, we're private pay. Most of them are private pay, unless you're doing the government type subsidized stuff,
like elderly care.
But there's no money in that because they tell you what they'll pay you, and it's lower. It's hard to operate. So we're really nice. We're private pay. Our brand is being built.
Private pay, so they have to just pay 100%. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's expensive.
Like $6,200 a month. But if you saw the amount of work,
meals,
nice
laundry,
living, nice living. We got soda there all the time.
Maybe I should come live there.
Pretty nice. We do laundry. We have a head maintenance guy. We hang the stuff on their thing. We fix their TV. Anything they need, we're there to do. Yeah. And most of the people are happy. We have like 34 residents right now.
So do you have do you know what your cost per new elderly person is? Like what does it cost to get a new person in there?
I'm spending about 13 grand a month on marketing right now. We do TV, we do radio. That's in my loss. I think last month I lost 37,000, which was my best loss yet.
Like least amount or highest?
Well, I mean, I'll show you.
The least amount you've lost is your best loss is at a.
Well, they've all been losses. Okay. So I had 600K of burn money, correct? I mean, I had 600K of burn money built into my project. So in May, I had already burned. In March of that year, I had already burned through it all. Well, so this is my additional after the 600 that I've had to write checks for.
I mean, it looks like it's significantly made a. I mean, that's pretty good, I think. So
you think that's good?
I mean, I don't think it's good, but
that's after I lost my 600 startup money.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, still. So
how much is all that?
You started at 140 loss. It's significant. It's dropped.
Yeah, but look at there.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, so? This is my high tech tracker. And this is the residents that are living in there. So that's positive, right?
Looks like it's improving. I mean, what's the plan? I mean, do you
get that positive? Yeah.
And then it should really. I mean, then it should pump some cash because it's a business and there's real estate, right? I mean, does the assisted living?
So in this number of loss right now, so there's a couple things that are not considered in here. When you take the true my taxes, no, my mortgages, my taxes are not in here, which is $87,000 a year.
Property tax?
Yes. So that's
you didn't get like an abatement or anything for that?
They're not giving that in Cumberland County. Yeah. The other thing that's not in here is sometimes there's a couple one-off items, like once a year type things that are not in there. The taxes are one of them. Insurance I'm paying monthly, so that's not a problem. But the other thing is, see these real big numbers. See the 173 and then see the 120.
Yeah.
They're 3 pays in a month. And when my payroll is 60K every payroll, those really mess you up. Normally there's only 2 in a year. But of course, this year that we're in right now is leap year, which has 3 months that are like that.
So you pay yourself a rent?
I do.
Yeah.
But I'm not. That's not taken.
So yes. At one point, you could sell this business and keep the real estate.
I think it'd be more advantageous if you had to sell it all.
Yeah.
I don't think I want the real estate. If I sold the business, I wouldn't want to deal with it. But so that's at about 50% full. So I would assume around 50, we start to make money. When that number gets to 50, we're at least breaking even. Pretty close.
Right, and then you'll need more staff. Yeah,
I know. But I'm also giving some discounts now. I'm not charging extra fees. I'm not charging a move-in fee.
There's got to be some, I would assume it takes some time to build up a reputation among whoever doctors even, or whoever
people need to know that we're a good place to go. We're going to do the right thing. And I'm there almost every day. So that's why you see a lot of my social media just being...
I mean, the place looks... I've seen some of those assisted living. Sometimes they have like the top floor is like the nicest, and then as you go down, I don't know if you've ever seen them like that. Like they get like, some of them are rough. And then the characters that work there, like I know my grandfather went through something, and it was like assisted living. It wasn't nursing home. And man, I went in. I was like, I don't even want to go back there ever again, because the lady I was like, I want to beat this lady up. The way I was like, that's
and that's what you get into when you get into Medicare. So Medicare, Medicaid, if someone gets free care like that,
you got like some $12 an hour LPN that just doesn't care about her job, serving your grandfather.
Yeah. So I'm in there. I'm friends with my residents. Like I know all of them. I walk around. I sit down with them while they're eating. Like when I go in there, I'm not there to see my staff or my leadership team. I'm literally just going and sitting down, solving their problems, meeting their families when they're in. I've been helping this one lady do weightlifting because she's 95 and she tells me she wants to walk again.
Maybe that'll just manifest positivity. And
that's what I'm there for. I'm there to be positive, and I go there for like 2 or 3 hours a day, and that's all I do. Because lately we've been making this 95-year-old who she hasn't wheeled herself since I've been there. So now before we even work out, I'm making her 12 feet. She has to come over to me 12 feet pushing the chair, and she wasn't doing this a couple weeks ago. So I think it's gonna help her.
Well, you must be making money somewhere, because you wouldn't be able to go hang out with an old lady if you didn't have your bills covered somewhere. So
it feels like they're getting covered. So my home buying company's been a little bit of a struggle this year because we're rebuilding and growing that, and you know how hard they are to run.
Yeah, that business is. I just watched a podcast between Cody Sperber, which is the clever investor guy, and Templeton Walker. But Cody's obviously like I don't know if you know who he is, but he's like a influencer, million followers. He said his marketing spend's only $7,000, or not his marketing spend, his entire overhead on his wholesale flipping company is only $7,000 right now. He's being that cautious in that business right now because it's that hard to find deals.
Can't do anything with it. Then he doesn't have one. He does not have one.
You got to watch some of the guys on the internet. If you watch the podcast and actually listen to what they say, and if you're an operator, you know if they're.
That doesn't sound right. I mean, my cost is $45,000 a month right now.
That's what you're spending, $45,000
just for that. And of the last 8 months, last month was our first month positive.
Yeah, it is very hard. That was so one of the partnership things we ran into was I ran the business. I was the one that kind of the brains of that business, generate how you get the leads, what software you use, how do you track everything. And I remember just going to them and being like, guys, because we made a lot of, how we made so much money in that business is we didn't really wholesale anything. We wholetailed everything. Yeah. So while everyone else was kind of trying to do this wholesale thing, we closed on everything, literally everything. Yeah. And then we would maybe paint the stoop out front or put a new mailbox, just very, very little. We'd usually, if it was a tenant or a rental, we'd put them on a nice lease, give them a little $25 increase, make sure it's month to month, and then sell that as something pretty. And I remember just going to them and being like, guys, I'm telling you, I just spent $15,000 for the past 3 months on mailing. I know I'm track. I know what I'm doing. I'm spending money for mentors to teach me this stuff. Yeah. It's not working, and they didn't want to listen to me, and then we all started bickering and.
Well, you have to have true financial meetings once a month too.
And that was a problem too. You just.
We have a month.
It's not you can't just when it turns into an actual business. Yeah. There's I know I'm only 30 and people might think oh, he doesn't know anything, but you're right. I mean, there needs to be partner meetings. There has to be the acquisition team needs to be accountable. Then we were one gentleman didn't want to we were trying to have a meeting every morning just with the team, and he didn't want to be in it, and it was just bad. And you can't run a business. It's not a one man hobby anymore. It was. And then I felt responsible. We had 9 employees. You're responsible for those guys. Yeah. We have a monthly financial meeting. That's the main meeting I go to. We have all the department heads meet once a week in our leadership team, and then each department head has a meeting within their own company once a week too. So there's 2 or 3 meetings a week that they have to do. You know, what marketing channel is working best?
Me, no. Nope. He does.
That's pretty cool, though.
He's in the marketing, so they're tracking that, and we're just getting. I mean, he's new to that. Our whole team is new to that. They're all new to that business, and we're just now starting. I mean, we got a couple novations working. We've got a couple, things we bought, closed on, just relisted as is. We're making money on, so we're turning the corner. So it's exciting, right?
Yeah, it's a tough business. It's definitely not. I mean, they're in 2020, 2019 when it was the market was appreciating. I remember we'd buy a tune-it for 60, and I'd be like, guys, let's put it on for 80, and it would sell for 80, and then I'm like, we got another tune-it, you can pay 70 for it because we know it's worth 80. Let's put it on for 82, and then we single-handedly between both Erics down there and then us, we were just slowly increasing the market, and it was crazy.
Oh, I'm sure Eric Brewer raised the market with turnkeys in that whole area. Yeah. I mean, Harrisburg did the same thing.
So I didn't even know. Is there a big buyer in Harrisburg? I just figured you guys bought in Harrisburg.
No, we just put them on.
So when you guys were buying in Harrisburg, that's what you were doing. You were
selling them through a website that was investors investors out of California, or all over the country. So all they were doing was buying based on the cap rate.
I've spoke to some of those guys who aren't happy, because when we were doing some of the marketing, I don't know what you guys do, but York is so small. I wasn't sending to necessarily absentee, and I was sending to and texting or calling every human. Everyone in York.
Oh, so you were talking to some of the people that have bought those.
Yeah, and some of them were not happy.
It's going to happen. Now, we manage all of our own. Yeah. And we still do manage all of our own.
I think that's what's powerful, though, about a turnkey company, if you're letting someone else sell it, though, because then you're...
Yeah, some of those companies doing turnkey didn't manage their own management companies, and there was a disconnect there. So when we
had the reputation, the bad reputation, you were out of it.
Correct.
Yeah,
but we managed our own, and my brother was anytime we bought one down there, my brother was the one buying a Mike. So he kind of vetted streets. Like he didn't want to, like he really put some thought into it. Like, hey, I don't want to sell this to somebody.
Yeah.
And it got to the end, right, where you either had to go to the super sketchy streets and sell anything and everything. And I will say we did one or two in there, but then we stopped. We weren't going to keep going down that rabbit hole because it was going to be a problem.
Yeah. You didn't get stuck with any?
I'm stuck with one, and I don't even know where. I know it's in Harrisburg. I know it's breaking even or cash flowing for me. It's still on my line of credit. I have one.
But so something you.
But I'm not trying to sell it to break even. I'm still trying to sell it to make a profit.
No.
I don't think we lost on any of ours.
Why don't you just dump it?
Because it's cash flowing, and I don't. It's not like I need the line of credit because I.
So if you have, well, what do you do? So like I just had a flip in Maryland. I thought for sure I'm like I'm gonna make $100,000 on this. I bought it for $405. I thought a house in the neighborhood just sold for $615. I'm like,
okay.
This is, and mine was a colonial. That was a rancher. Now I know ranchers are a different breed, but I'm like a colonial 5-bedroom's got to be worth more than a rancher 5-bedroom or 3-bedroom. Okay. So I put $55,000 on it. Put it on the now. It took longer to renovate and stuff like that, and I put it on the market like right in December. I ended up, so I just sold it yesterday. I made $659.
Oh, I'll unload a flip.
Yeah, and so that's basically, I could have held on and probably made more, but I more was like.
First of all, I don't do stuff in those price ranges.
Yeah,
if I can
that
help
was
it.
the biggest lesson. It's just silly.
I'm on the lower price ranges, and I really need to know the area. We have not lost on a flip in 5 years.
Yeah.
And we did 30 last year.
I'm still haven't lost either, but yeah, I'll never buy a expensive. It's just.
We bought one that ended up going for $650 in Duncannon. But it was.
I looked at my P&L. I'm pretty good about like tracking all that, and I have a bookkeeper, and I paid my private lender $24,000
on that deal.
Yeah, and I made $650. That doesn't include like, I don't go and work on my flips, but like if it's cheaper for me to go replace an outlet or like I'll do that. So that doesn't like I mulch the place, so I didn't include my time mulching it. I drug my dad down there to help me mulch it. So it's like.
Did you make the commission?
No, I didn't. Okay. So I'm licensed and I'm licensed in Maryland, but my broker's not licensed in Maryland. So I would have to put so I let someone else list it, and it was a lesson. But
So when I figure out my profits for a flip, obviously I put in the interest. I put in a $3,200.50 management fee. I put in 1% for overhead, and then we do 5% to list it. And then, of course, we do the 1% for the transfer tax. So my extra 1% for overhead, my $3,250 management fee, they're kind of like buffers I have. Then I'll go down to like 15 or 20 to flip a house for profit. But I have those two fees in there to kind of...
Yeah. So your profit ends up being much...
being more, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even though I have the cash, I still use my lines, even though I...
Yeah, I think that's smart. I use my line. I have a bunch of lines of credit, 3. I use that or my personal money to renovate them, but yeah, I'm very cautious about keeping my personal money.
Well, I never move money to my personal. It's in my businesses, but I still am cautious about dumping it into something and then not having it for some reason.
Yeah.
At some point, we will do more of it, but right now, you saw until this assisted living gets better.
Yeah. So that's going to take...
Another year.
Yeah, just to break even or just start being positive, not to get that money back though.
Yeah.
Right?
But my rentals are bringing, like I've sold some rentals. My overall cash is hovering right around my cash in my companies that I consider excess, like not the operational cash, but the excess is like, we're right around like 2.2 million sitting right now. And my rentals make $50,000 a month on the multifamily stuff. So when you really look at rentals come in, makes 50, because we take out for taxes, so really like 35,000 to the positive on my ledger, and then I lose like 37, so it like drops 2. Like it really, there's months that it doesn't really drop my overall cash.
You're not one of those investors that doesn't pay their property tax and then doesn't pay. I know you're not this because you just said it, but some guys will not pay their property tax, and then the penalty, and then the cost to make payments on that is cheaper. I know that's.
I will say there was a point in my career where I couldn't afford to pay the taxes quarterly, number one. Then there was a point in time where I was like, oh, I have the money here, but I'm not paying it because I can use the money elsewhere.
You mean your property tax or your
my
income tax?
Income tax.
Oh. I'm surprised you pay income tax.
Well, I haven't bought anything a year now. I mean, when you make a lot of money, you have to pay a tax. Yeah. I mean, I literally last year, I paid $750,000 in tax last year.
Yeah, no, I paid $50,000.
Yeah. I would have had over $1 million if I didn't have the assisted living.
So even with, did you do a call seg on the assisted living?
That's what I got down 500.
Oh, wow.
I got it down to 700. We made $4 million last year.
So hold up, your call seg, you got a $500,000 tax loss? Seems low.
And that's the actual cash. That's not the loss. That was the cash savings.
Oh, okay. Because we bought I've only done one syndication, but it was just a 10 unit just to learn it. But, we paid $1 million for that, and we got $250,000, and then we bought a 10 unit beside it.
So when you say $250,000, that's not the cash.
No, that was like the accelerator.
That was the loss.
Yeah.
So take it times 30%. That's the cash.
Okay.
So I saved $500,000 in cash
okay. So
against my
massive,
taxes. I made $4 million. So $4 million times 30%, I would have had to pay like $1.2 million in tax.
Yeah.
Because I sold stuff. We had a great year flipping.
And you like to call seg everything.
The large stuff I do, yes.
What about single family?
I have, yes. Especially last year. Year when I had to pay that much, I was like, I need to do something.
Yeah, because sometimes like I've tried to explain this to just other business mentors like that aren't in real estate. They don't quite understand it because like I'm going to buy real estate every year for the rest of my life. So if I pull it off of my beach house, it's not as I'm going to buy something else next year. So.
I haven't been able to get rid of tax. I would say this year I'm doing a really good job because the assisted living is losing so much. So I feel like all these losses, you saw there's like another $1 million of loss this year. That is definitely offsetting a fair amount of my rental income and maybe some of my flipping income.
Yeah.
And my wholesaling company's eating up a lot of cash this year too. So I'm really 2023 was not a great year for me. We flipped 30 houses. Well, overall, like compared to the 3 years before that, they were much better.
So you flipped 30 houses. Is that business positive?
Yeah, I probably made $1 million flipping those houses.
Yeah.
We did make $1 million flipping, but I will say throughout the year I've taken all those profits. I always put 25% profit of the flipping back into the company on top of everything else, but then I normally keep 25% for tax, and then I keep 50% for like literally savings. I have not since June have kept any of that 50%. I have dumped it all back in.
Into the flipping business or into
wholesaling and flipping, just to keep overhead going. Marketing with what he does going, because it really.
Yeah, all these businesses you got to see somewhat of like a long-term goal or.
I can see long term, but then at some point you got to know when to cut the switch. And I was fine with Remarkable. It's like the third time I've done it. I've done it with 2 or 3 different kind of minority partners in the past. So now we're like on the 4th rendition, and we're doing it a different way. We're doing it remote. Seems
like a lot of the people in this space. I know we've all like not maybe you, but like like I've worked for him. Who then he went and worked for him.
Yep.
And then I try to like some of that I don't like. I think it's like weird, but I guess it's just part of it.
Part of it.
Yeah.
But it is
something you see probably at Collective is like everyone seems to genuinely want to help each other. Sometimes I feel like locally, at least in the York market, I know it's small and there's competition, but like it's not like the same when you go to like when I was in Arizona, it genuinely felt like those guys were willing to like JV and help each other. And I don't know if this was like they just did this, on camera or if they actually. Because it seems
they better be ready. If the market ever tanks, right, then you have to be willing to help. We work together because, if I can tell you, I've bought a lot of houses off.
So like the people who have left you and gone and worked here, or vice versa.
Oh yeah, one guy that recently left me, he has sold 3 or 4 of our houses and gotten me more money than if I tried to sell them. Yeah. So actually, I don't really burn a bridge. Yeah. I'll work with them, 100%. Yeah. And I work well with Eric Brewer. I haven't bought much from Latshaw, although I used to when he was with Brewer. I bought a lot, but I would love to buy some from him. I'll buy from anyone if I can flip it and make a little bit. Because flipping is what I like to do. That is why we are in the business. 2 flip houses. We are really, really good
at it. Yeah.
Meg is really good at doing it.
That was a really big learning experience for me this year. Is like I've just hired a full-time guy that works for me and basically maintains my rentals and stuff like that, which has been night and day, like life-changing. But I was more like in 2023 trying to figure out if I could do it on my own. I'm like looking on Facebook for contractors and whoever could give me a bid and actually show up. I'm like, you're hired, and like, oh, it was bad. It's
hard when you're starting out, but that's what over time you can build up your rapport of people. And
Like I remember I had this guy. I wanted the cabinet sanded and painted. he sanded the front of them, painted the front of them. I opened up the inside, and there was roach poop, the little sand everywhere. And I'm like, dude, like, you got to clean this up. He's like, okay, you want me to just paint the inside? I'm like, you want to just paint it? Sure. Not thinking that I need to explain to him that you still need to vacuum and wipe down the roach poop.
He just went and painted it.
He painted over the roach poop.
Oh my God.
So then now I'm stuck with, like, what do I do here?
You're in a bigger mess now.
Yeah, so like so I flipped 12 houses in 12 or I think just say 12, but maybe a little bit more, 13 maybe, 14. But almost every single one was like...
In 23 you did?
Yeah,
12?
20, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was some rendition of that, whether it was...
Did you make money on them?
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. I made like a little below 400,000 on the flips in 2023, but I don't know where all that money went.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. But yeah, it was.
But yeah, so back to rental properties. They don't make a whole lot of money. You've got 40. Are you able to pay yourself out of your rental properties right now, out of that account? Do you take money out for living?
Not like intentionally scheduled or anything like that, but no. Yeah, I think it's like. So I had 40, I ended the year with 42, and then I bought 16 this year so far, so whatever that is. So,
oh wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, so like I have a 8 unit that's vacant right now. It's a rooming house, which I might actually flip it. All I'm basically going in and like painting everything alabaster white and putting new flooring in. I might just pop it off, but because I need the cash, and it's not a rooming house isn't something that like I really want to own.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they can.
Cash is good. So as you grow your companies and do more and more, I think it's important that I've learned in the Collective Genius is you need to grow your cash too.
Yeah. That's something that this year I'm trying to like pump the brakes and do that. Because like then I bought, like I have a beach house that I luckily bought that right like COVID happened and we weren't all able to like do much. So I was like, I'm going to do the same marketing in Ocean City.
Where's it at?
It's on 141st Street in King Woods.
Oh wow.
It's like I mean it's
on the side of Ocean City.
Yeah, I mean it's
okay.
It's like I paid $345 for it. It's probably worth like $550.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I did a full rehab there, and that we put it on Airbnb, and it doesn't rent at all in the off season, like not at all. Now we donate it to like Christian School of York for like silent auctions and stuff, so like that, but no, not at all. So it makes like I think we after mortgage everything, I think we net like $6,000 a year on it, which is pretty good.
You get to use it a little bit then too?
No, we don't use it.
You don't?
No.
Is it on the water?
It's like yours is like right on that canal. Mine would be like on that street behind yours. What are you on 137?
I'm on 136th.
So like it would
right
be
on the water.
So if yours is here, it would be like my house is here. So like I can see water, but I'm not.
Okay.
No.
I paid
but,
165 for mine.
You should tear that down and build a house there. Are you allowed?
Yeah, but why? So I owe 165 on it. Or no, I paid 165. I put 80 into it, so I'm 245 all in. I owe 80 on it.
Yeah, it's home run.
It's worth 600 right now.
Yeah.
Like it would sell in a heart. I would go do a little bit of work and it would be sold.
So my mother-in-law owns a trailer in Sundowner, which is like right behind yours. She paid $25,000 for it, which is that's like the only mobile home park all in Ocean City that I think she pays $600 a year in lot rent or something crazy.
Those are selling pretty good too. Those are
now they're selling for like $150, $200.
Yeah, they're not bad.
But I'd love to have a house like just on a canal that way you can
jet ski. Like that's
just because it's a totally different lifestyle at Ocean City back there. Even that like my neighborhood, your neighborhood, and then on the bay than it is like going downtown and dealing with all that nonsense.
I'll go for a week and I'll never walk to the beach.
Yeah,
I literally would get on the jet ski, go out on the boat. We just bought a new boat last year. It's a big jet boat.
Yeah, I should have bought your pontoon, but I don't know where I would have put it. But then I have a problem with like cash because I buy stuff like that. So I put $100,000 down on that house. So I only owe like because my debt to income sucked, and I got I think my mortgage is like 3.5 or 4. But
fixed for 30 years type thing. Good.
Yeah.
So you really don't want to sell that.
No, I'm not going to sell that. But I put I have $100,000 of my own money like stuck in it. Yeah. And then I bought these cabins and.
How are they doing?
They're crushing it.
Really?
Compared to, I had no idea what they were going to do. So they're 15 minutes from Deep Creek, like Wisp, which is a super like luxurious lake and like multi-million-dollar homes, and we wanted something like near the lake, but I wanted land, so I'm like,
yeah.
So it was actually right on the MLS. It was like most people that are coming from like Pittsburgh, DC, they're like wealthy people. They don't want a cabin 20 minutes from the lake. They want a lakefront house. So I was like, I told them it sat on the market for like, I think 6 months. They had like terrible photography. It was just like it was one of those MLS deals that like if the right.
How many houses?
It's 2 cabins.
Okay.
2 cabins, 2 septics.
What did you pay for it?
I paid $555 or $565.
Does that cash flow?
Yeah, because I gave him $50,000.
Okay.
And then they financed it.
For how long?
5 years, 5% interest only.
You'll be wondering in 5 years. 5 years will come quickly, and you got to know what the rates are and all that.
And then I put it in a forest program, so then my taxes are like $1,500. It has one buildable lot on it, which I'm not going to build on it, but the cabin rents out. It's basically the one I put a traveling nurse in.
Oh wow!
So that rents for $1,850.
Oh, okay.
And then she's moving out the beginning of May, and then they're building a not a solar panel, but like a wind farm.
Yeah.
And one of the safety managers is going to stay. So they're really qualified people, and he's going to stay till December.
Okay.
And pay $1,850. So then the second cabin's just like
Airbnb.
Yeah. So it's been like a lot of skiers, and it's been rented every weekend. It hasn't rented for more than like two or 3 days at a time, but it's
that's good.
It's positive. I think it's like positive $800 a month.
Oh, good.
I'm happy with that.
We're not as bullish on Airbnb. I have like 16 Airbnbs. We sold one, but
16.
I have 16.
I think Airbnb is like the most dangerous thing.
Yeah, they're not. But all of mine, with the exception of a couple in Hershey, all of mine I can sell for lots of money.
Who manages those? In here?
My sister-in-law, Kim, her sister does it. She has a full-time job, but she manages the website.
Because that's a very different type of management.
Yeah, she manages it, but then our team jumps in and helps. And Kim, if Kim has to get involved, she will, or my brother Justin, or my other brother Mike. We kind of all jump in.
Yeah, I've never tried like a local style Airbnb. I've always thought like vacation-y. Something.
Ours are in Carlisle and Hershey. That's it.
And that's a lot, 16.
But Hershey does pretty good in the off season. Yeah. We have 3 houses down there. Sometimes I'll net like $10,000 a month on one house, but then I lose the other months out of the year. After those 3 summer months, we kind of lose the other 3 months.
Hershey Park's like a big deal to people that aren't from around here.
That's not going away.
Yeah, no, it's massive.
But I have, it's been a downward turn. Like people that have them in Florida or beach house, like it's all gone.
Yeah,
and I think it's because people can go to, Cancun or Mexico now for cheaper, and they didn't during COVID, but now they're traveling more.
They were scared.
So we've literally seen a decline year over year on ours.
When you guys vacation, if you aren't going to Cancun, if you just went to, are you a hotel people or Airbnb?
I'm a hotel guy pretty much.
I like to have my towel because I don't know some Airbnbs are not nice.
If I go to Mexico, I'll stay in Airbnb, but we rent like a big house up on it, like a mansion on the hill. Yeah. We just started doing that a couple of years ago too.
That's through Airbnb?
Well, I go direct now if I'm booking with that guy.
Yeah, I need to try to vacation like that. You got like that nice infinity pool. That's got to be good for the kids and just your
So
mind.
I paid for everyone that went on that trip.
How many people is that?
20.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Like 25.
Yeah.
20. Maybe I had 20 into it.
It's got to be worth it though.
Oh, it is worth it. But that is why I do what I do. So
your kids got it. Your kids go, right?
Yep, my kids. I took my wife's whole family last time.
Growing up, we used to always go to the Outer Banks. My dad, same thing. He paid for it, and it was probably about the same price. And I think he kicked himself a long time thinking that he should have bought a beach house instead for all the money he spent. I'm like, Dad, the amount of memories I have from Outer Banks from being a little kid are like
unbelievable.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
getting stuck in the elevator, breaking the pool table.
Well, don't get me wrong. I look at houses in Mexico to buy every time I'm there. The owner of the Collective Genius was reaching out to me about he wants to buy in Mexico, and I actually just turned it down.
Oh, you'd buy with him?
Mm-hmm. With like 3 of them.
Where in Mexico is that?
Zihuatanejo, Mexico. It's awesome. That's the place we've been going.
Yeah.
But with everything I got going on, it just doesn't make, even though I can do it, like what's 600, 700 grand? It's not a lot, but not a smart decision. So I got to keep holding back.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they're getting ready for a meeting in here. So I appreciate you coming in.
Appreciate for having me.
I hope someone can learn that it's not all easy with doing rental properties or flipping, but you have to keep pushing forward, right?
Yeah, it's not easy.
So keep grinding, and maybe in another 20 years you'll see the light.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.